It's him.
You better run!
War is on its way. Come on, you're the god of mischief. Always have been. Always will be.
Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host, Paul, and why is Loki a bad gardener, hey? Because he's got too much time on his hands. Wait, where are you going? Come back. No, seriously, I've got plot leaks, mate. Come back. So, the new Loki Season 2 trailer has just dropped online, and it actually confirms a lot of different leaks that we've had on the show, which could explain what's happening in the new look. Throughout this video, I've compiled lots of different things from a ton of scooper accounts who've been dropping rumours and leaks on what's coming in the show. These might not be true, so take them with a pinch of salt, but I think once we get into it, you'll see a lot of this stuff lines up. Either way, huge shout out to Daniel RPK, My Time to Shine, Josh at Den of Nerds, Can We Get Some Toast, and Trust Me Bro 18 for posting this stuff over the last couple of months. Not gonna waste any more of your time, and according to Trust Me Bro 18, the ending of Season 1 actually misled a lot of people. From what the user said, Loki isn't in an alternate TVA, and he's actually gone back in time to its early days. This is in a time in which Kang ruled over it, and it's before he created the Timekeepers and became He Who Remains. He hadn't erased everyone's memories and was still clearly the leader of the TVA, presenting an imposing figure with his monuments and statues. Throughout the teaser, we see stuff like the mural depicting the multiversal war with all the Kangs on it, and this is actually showing the past and the story the main one gives the TVA. This was of course reworked in the Miss Minutes video that talked about the Timekeepers doing it, showing how the past version has what really happened. Loki has been sent back to this point, but he begins slipping through time, which is something that isn't supposed to be able to happen.
Great to see you again.
That's what's been happening.
Wow. Time slipping.
Wait, times you know that?
Yeah.
You've seen that?
Yeah.
Can you fix that?
No. It's impossible to time slip in the TVA.
I know, but we just saw it happen.
Yeah.
He's torn across multiple points in the time stream, and then Mobius takes him to OB, played by Ki-Hu Kwan. This is someone who, according to the leaks, built all the TVA's technology, and he's used as a way to stop Loki from time slipping. Josh explained this as being when someone exists in multiple times at once, but with the TVA existing outside of time and space, it shouldn't be happening here. So the first episode, it's basically going to be Loki experiencing multiple versions of the TVA at different points in time. I'm just speculating here, but I'm guessing this is when he sees himself reading a manual, which may be a future or past version of himself. Now pay close attention to what's on the screen during this bit, and you might notice there's a sort of hourglass thing in the middle of it. This seems to be pulling the multiple timelines together, and it's putting them into one single strand. Now going off the leaks, Can We Get Some Toast posted, this is something known as the time loom, which basically takes together all the different timelines and puts them into one manageable thing. We discover that the multiple timelines being created at the end of Season 1 has overloaded this, and it's now having difficulty pulling it all together. Now as we know, once a time loom was created, Kang started wiping out multiple points of the multiverse, and after all this was organised, he wiped everyone's memories and became He Who Remains. Later on in the trailer, we see Loki destroying a mural of the Timekeepers, and in the centre of this, we can see them holding the time loom. We also get a shot of Mobius when he's in a sort of spacesuit, and then catch him walking along a walkway which is to the time loom itself. This is a giant device that we can see is pulling everything together, and we learn in the season that this has actually been damaged. This is why Loki's slipping back and forth, and the main thrust of the early episodes will be about fixing it. Now this idea of the time loom and timelines feathering away also ties in with the record that Sylvie sees falling apart. If you cast your mind back to Quantum Mania, we'll go back, don't think about MODOK's butt, but think about that scene where we go to the probability storm, and you can see this effect happening to a giant version of Ant-Man. This effect's also carried across to the monitor later on, which has Miss Minutes on it, thanking them for their service. This is the TVA coming to its end, and thus they have to put things in place to stop this from happening. All these moments show that the time stream's being displaced, and thus Mobius has to go in and fix it, which brings everything back together. Now at the moment, the multiverse, it's kind of pulling itself apart due to Kang constantly jumping back and forth between timelines, and thus they need the loom to rein it all in. The loom is also said to be what stops incursions from happening, and it means that timelines are kept in order instead of just being out like random threads. Now we also get a shot where Loki appears in front of a store that sells jet skis. Huge shoutouts to Paul Mackley on Twitter for pointing out that this looks like it's Ace Cafe in Wembley, and just some speculation here, but I think this might be where Mobius was before the TVA scooped him up. Man, of course, loves his jet skis like you love hitting the thumbs up button, and it could explain why he has that subconscious desire to ride one off into the sunset. Either way, the leaks say Loki tries to expose the truth about Kang, which is when he destroys the mural and reveals Kang's face. It's kinda like that scene in Ragnarok where Hela reveals the truth about Odin, but this obviously happens later on in the timeline rather than when Kang's ruling the organization. Now we obviously know that he meets several versions of Mobius as well, because the one at the end of Season 1 knew about Kang, whereas in the Quantumania post-credits scene he had no idea who he was. This was post-memory erasure, hence why he didn't know what was going on, whereas the earlier versions that we meet will be well aware of who he is. Now according to the leaks, Obi's going to be the one who gets to the bottom of it, and he helps Loki out by teaming up with Mobius. He's the one who gives him the battery, which we can see in a scene where Mobius holds it, and he's also the one that provides the spacesuit so that he can go and do the walk. Now the time loom itself is going to get fixed, but it's still going to remain a big part of the season. We actually see this later on in the teaser, and it's what Victor Timely is presenting at the show that was given to us as the Quantumania post-credit scene. In that, Timely was talking about time and how it's possible to shape it.
Time. It shapes our lives, but perhaps we can shape it.
Now in the trailer we see the curtain at this show being pulled back, and you can see the time loom on stage as the central piece. Now in our trailer breakdown we mistakenly said that Loki and Mobius travel back to 1901 to look for Victor Timely. I don't think that's right though, and as many of you pointed out, the World Columbian Exposition happened in 1893. From what I've been told, that is the year it's going to be set. I just said 1901 because that's the year Kang travelled back to in the original comics. Either way, this will be as early as before he's formed the TVA and fully mastered the time loom. They'll be seeing his origin story, which is why we also see a prototype Miss Minutes later on that goes wild on the people in attendance at the fair. Kang is obviously from the future, so this is why he has technology like this, and he's travelled back in time to then build Timely up around him. That's the town of Timely in Wisconsin. It's also got his name, so yeah, lots of things going on there that we're going to see the ins and outs of. Now Ravonna is meant to pop up then as well, and she'll be coming off the back of leaving the TVA at the end of Season 1. This is just me speculating, yeah, but I think she's going to be trying to find out things about her past and how the TVA was formed. We also get a shot where it looks like she's in the void, and judging by the purple glow, I'm guessing this is Alith. Now according to the leaks, though the main villain's getting promoted as being Kang, that's not actually the case. He'll play more of a secondary villain role, and we'll actually learn that there's someone else working behind the scenes. There'll be strange TVA agents appearing that are trying to attack Loki, and the next part of the season will be about finding out who these are. Now according to the leaks, this will lead Loki and Mobius to go after a guy named X5, who we actually see at several points in the trailer. The rumours state he'll have used the chaos at the end of Season 1 to go back to the 70s, and he'll then have shaped himself into a famous film star. In the teaser, we see the premiere for his movie Zaniac, who's actually a niche character from the comics that the film will be about. Now the teaser also has Loki grabbing and interrogating him, which is when he starts tapping into his powers of mischief and just going wild. This includes his green blasts, and he also duplicates himself in order to restrain him. Later on, X5 is apparently taken into the TVA, and Loki also ends up interrogating him there. This is when he'll tell him Sylvie's working at a McDonald's, and from this point Loki will visit her and find out what's going on. Now all this stuff was posted by Trust Me Bro 18 back in December, and knowing what we know of the trailer, it makes a lot of sense. So Sylvie, according to them, will basically have left the castle because she's unable to deal with everything and can't handle being a god. Loki's going to convince her to rejoin up with him, and they're then going to go and try and fix everything. Now this will put them into conflict with the other versions of the TVA, and it's at this point we start to learn who the actual villain is. Now this is something we talked about in our trailer breakdown the other day, but every plot leak I've managed to find from a reputable source also backs this up. Now they're apparently going to reveal in the show that it's actually a future older version of Sylvie who's the one sending her TVA agents back, and she'll be played by the actress Kate Dickie. What we learn is that Sylvie ended up taking control of the TVA again, and this caused further chaos and a splitting of the time stream. She realized that in the past she'd messed everything up, so she was sending back her TVA agents to stop the prior versions of herself and Loki. She just wants to simplify everything like how He Who Remains had it, because she's realized it's too difficult to manage all these variants and these alternate realities. It just ultimately leads to wars and incursions because people like Kang and Doctor Strange will constantly jump across to different realities through either their technology or by dreamwalking. So Sylvie wants to rein it in, but I actually think that this series might end with her death. They could realise that He Who Remains was a sort of better the devil you know, and that he managed things well enough to the point that they just allow the natural course of time to put him in charge. There's also the possibility that Loki could end up taking over the role, and that he'll be the one who looks over everything. I have to hammer home that both these last bits, they're pure speculation, and we might even end up with the old Sylvie staying in charge as She Who Remains, or potentially the young Sylvie and Loki will decide to rule it together. At some point in this past, though, this old Sylvie will have to have carried out what the young one did, which is push Loki out and then kill He Who Remains. Sylvie probably realises that's all a mistake, and she might finally come to terms with the fact that she has to either rule it alongside someone or just step down. Either way, that's all the leaks I could find that seem to build off the back of what we've been shown in the trailers, and knowing this hopefully helps it make a lot more sense. Obviously, I'd love to hear your thoughts though, so make sure you comment below and let me know. Do you think the leaks are real? Do you think they're fake? Yeah, comment below and let me know. Please drop a like on the video as well. Make sure you subscribe. And if you want to support the channel as a member of the Spoiler Society, then please click the join button. You'll get early access to videos every week, and it goes such a long way to helping us out. If you want to get some heavy spoilers merch, we've also got our t-shirt line located just below the video that will let you pick up all kinds of tops like our Theory Time one, House of the Dragon stuff, Marvel tees, and a lot more. We drop new designs on there all the time too, so definitely keep an eye out for them, and yeah, thanks for all your support. Now if you want something else to watch, we've actually got a breakdown of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 on screen right now, carried out by none other than my main man MT. Guys, now come over to the Heavy Spoilers channel. He's joined the bad guys, and yeah, he's going to be doing breakdowns like this from time to time, so yeah, definitely keep an eye out. But out of the way, huge thank you for sticking through the video. I've been Paul, I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.